Welcome back. At the fixed income market here in Nigeria, the central bank is offering 110.94 billion naira across the 91-day, 182-day and 364-day bills in today's treasury bill auction. Let's bring in fixed income dealer with Wema Bank, Ifeanyi Akweche, to give us a sense of activities at the market. Well, thanks, Ifeanyi, for your time.
Yes, thank you.
So what are your expectations from today's treasury bill auction in terms of liquidity?
Just like we've explained, experienced in the market today, the market has been bearish in performance. There has been a lot of sales in the market today, especially as the CBN keeps supplying the market with the FX needed by the market. But the point is that with the FX purchases and sale from CBN, we expect a lot of liquidity squeeze in the system. So with the level of liquidity we have in the market, we expect the yield at the primary option to actually be very high because there are no liquidities in the system.
How would you compare today's opening yield with what you currently have as we speak?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the market has experienced a lot of bearish performance, so with yields rising up to as high as 19.6, up to, in fact, over 20% the market as I'm talking to you right now. So considering that and also bearing in mind the level of liquidity in the system, we still cannot see the market dropping at this time.
Fixed income dealer with Wema Bank, Ifeanyi Akweche, thanks for giving us the updates coming from the fixed income market. We're moving on now. Recent data from the World Bank shows that nearly 600 million people in sub-Saharan Africa still lack access to energy. A young Cameroonian engineer is looking to change that by teaching young people in rural communities about the power of clean energy.
Bolivie Wakam is an engineer in renewable energy, and he's sharing his knowledge and skill with communities across Cameroon. The 29-year-old who studied renewable energy in Italy has made it his mission to train young people on how to install solar panels and use a free and accessible source of energy in a country where mainstream power and electricity supply is either too expensive or out of reach. Today, Wakam is in his hometown of Batufam in western Cameroon, teaching a group of students on how to purify water using cheap solar skills. Wakam launched his NGO Africa Tech Solar 2 years ago with the aim of promoting the use of clean energy. This energy is sourced locally, meaning we tap into solar energy to power the panels. So what we have here is an independent system that uses a battery charged by the sun, which then powers the panels, and the advantage is that the solar energy doesn't pollute the environment. It's clean energy and it's renewable. Renewable sources of energy can be used over and over again, and people don't even need to pay for the electricity because it's free. According to the World Bank, nearly 600 million people in sub-Saharan Africa, most of them in rural areas where poverty is high, still lack access to energy, and electrification is barely keeping pace with population growth. Wakam's Africa Tech Solar is working to change those numbers. He has so far installed solar-powered street lights, multimedia installations, and a water purification plant in Batufam. I would, in 3, 4 or 5 years, like to see the majority of Africans having this solar kit, especially in the rural areas, because those are the areas that are the most affected by a lack of electricity. Over 60 people from Batufam and surrounding towns have been taught about renewable energy and trained to assemble and maintain solar panels. Following today's intense class with Wakam, students put their training to the test by installing a solar panel at the local library. Access to electricity has changed lives here. Business and learning can go on for longer periods, and people are using computers, and his students say they are inspired by the idea of clean, renewable energy. African governments could provide a large chunk of this by boosting tax collection, cutting corruption, ending subsidies for unprofitable utilities, and stemming illicit financial transfers.
Zambia's central bank has cut its benchmark lending rate by 150 basis points to 12.5%. Governor Danny Kellyava cites lower inflation and subdued economic growth as the reason behind the decision. Data from the country's statistics office shows inflation was flat at 6.7% year-on-year in April, maintaining a steady decline from more than 20% a year ago. Meanwhile, Angola's inflation slowed to 34.8% year-on-year in April from 36.52% in March. Data on the National Statistics Agency's website shows price increases on a month-on-month basis slowed 1.8% in April compared to a 1.91% in March. And Swiss trading giant Glencore and U.S. private equity investor Carlyle Group have teamed up in an attempt to buy Morocco's only oil refinery. Industry sources say they're hoping to recoup about $600 million in loans they issued to the plant before it went bankrupt. The Moroccan government wanted at least $2 billion for the plant at Mohammedia on the Atlantic coast near Casablanca. However, no decision on any sale is imminent. That's due partly to its complex debts. The 200,000 barrel per day refinery stopped operating in August 2015 after the government froze the bank accounts of its loss-making operator Samir, seeking 13 billion dirham in unpaid taxes. An Africa-focused oil company, Tullow Oil, says it encountered 75 meters of net oil pay in two zones at an exploration well in northern Kenya. The company expects the Emekuya-1 well, located in the South Lokisha Basin in northwestern Kenya, will eventually be developed to full field development. Tullow says the well has proven oil charge across a significant part of the greater Atom structure. Earlier this year, the company said its Erut-1 well, located in the same block, discovered oil with 25 meters of net oil pay. According to Davy Research, Tullow's latest guidance for discovered resources in the South Lokisha Basin was 750 million barrels. And in South Africa, the central bank governor, Lesetja Kyango, says raising lending rates will do little to attract new investments in the country after its credit rating was downgraded to junk. Kyango told online publication that the Reserve Bank would stick to targeting inflation of 3 to 6%. He believes failure to deal with the inflationary consequences of currency depreciation, which pushes up import prices and potentially oil prices, would push up both short and long-term borrowing costs. In March, the bank kept rates unchanged for an 8th straight meeting, saying it had reached the end of its tightening cycle, which has seen it raise rates a total of 200 basis points since 2014. The bank's policy committee meets for 3 days starting next Monday and is due to announce its rate decision on Thursday. And that's today's program. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.